Now I move on to the Waihoro Spreydon-Cashmere Community Board Report to Council and invite Carolyn Potter. And Melanie and Chris. Nice to see you in your new role, Chris.
Thank you.
Kia ora tātou. I think this is the first time that we have been first up. We've been allocated first up before, but gazumped by some of the people behind us. But this is the first time. No comment. We have a Part A, which is of itself as a triumph, and behind me is sitting Diane, the chairperson, and Sonia, the secretary of the Spreydon Neighbourhood Network, who have been instrumental in this Part A coming to council, together with Dennis, right there. And they have fought the fight for this and have been out there in the public, counting the cars, looking at the accidents, watching the roads, talking to the staff, constantly on our backs over the last 3-4 years, but actually the history of this is 20 years. And we are delighted that it is now coming to council.
They also come to every board meeting we have now.
Yes, they have a rotating roster coming to every board meeting.
Brilliant.
They're especially interested in our technology. You're first up now. Oh, right.
Oh yes. So
no, I should say something about it, shouldn't I? Thanks, Barrington Mall has had a right-hand turn out onto Barrington as well as a left-hand turn for its existence. Even at the beginning, everyone knew it was going to be a problem. It also has a exit from the mall, which includes a acknowledged footpath to the local, especially to the local library, and it causes a lot of chaos between pedestrians, older people, people with disability, the exit from the mall and the entrance to the mall onto a very busy street with exits and buses, car parks and all sorts of things surrounding it. It has been the cause of some dramas over the years, and it has been a long-standing issue, and we look forward to its conclusion. Sorry, Mel.
Right, so Hunhei flooding issues. There's it's not as huge as anything like the Heathcote, but there's a little bit of flooding that has been over the years. It's sort of got worse since the earthquakes in Weir Place in Hunhei, which is quite close to the Heathcote River, and also Copenhagen Place and Marion Street. They don't get flooding over their floor, but they do get it quite a lot all over their properties, and we had a meeting about a year ago about that for the community, and then tonight we'll be having a follow-up meeting because the staff have sort of looked into what they can or cannot do and produced a memorandum about that, so we'll find out today what the residents have to say in response to it. Yep, Hunhei Fiesta. When was this? So it was the 15th of November. It was a Thursday before show day. We had Hunhei Fiesta, which we have every year, and this year was really amazing because we had a whole lot more schools come along to do presentation, or to do performances, singing and all sorts of cultural festival type stuff that they have decided to do at the Hunhei Fiesta. So it meant a whole lot of more schools came along than other years, and it just had a really great vibe to it basically, and yeah.
I think we should point out that we had 9 schools that coming, and the reason for their coming was that the cultural festival that used to be held in the town hall has now got too expensive for some schools, and they're actually choosing to come to Hunhei. So there's a certain sadness and a certain joy about it. And the other thing about the fiesta, and which the staff have put a lot of work into, including community development and how to run a fiesta. They've done a lot of community development with the people who are the volunteers at the fiesta on how to run these kinds of things, including how to MC a stage and how to do traffic management and so on. So it is a real community development effort, the Hunhei Fiesta. Secondly, we have now attached to it the Pacific Series, which is rugby league teams from across Christchurch representing Pacifica Māori and Pākehā and other communities coming to the Hunhei Pacific Series to play rugby league. And I went down and watched, for example, the Pacific New Guinea team, who were mostly made up of university students, and unfortunately they were getting absolutely thrashed by some older players from other areas in the Pacific. But they were enjoying it nonetheless, and I spoke to the woman on the sideline from Pacific New Guinea and was learning about, for instance, the fact that there's 1,800 languages in Papua New Guinea, and there was one woman on one side of me who could speak 6 of them, and another woman on the other side of me who could speak 3 of them. So it's a great, great thing to have, the Pacific Series. This is predator-free. This is predator-free again, which is operating very successfully in our ward. Jeremy Agar thought the idea up years before the Prime Minister, the then Prime Minister, and it now seems to have reached a real tipping point in terms of the enthusiastic way the community is taking it up. And you can see there, in that part of the park, they were actually building predator-free traps. I have to say, in a very modest way, that my son was running this event. And that was supported financially by the board as well.
We Spreydon school pool opening, so they opened officially like a year ago, and we've told you the story before about how they'd built their pool and it got destroyed in the earthquakes, and then they fundraised up to about $1 million, isn't it, to rebuild it. So they've reopened again, and as part of that, we're supporting giving keys as well to people in the community so they can come and use the pool over the summer. So hopefully it gets a bit warmer, although yesterday was pretty good, but yeah. So that was really cool just to go along to that and just see that they're continuing all their good work.
And the St Albans School community, who are trying to raise funds for the rebuild of their pool, might like to talk to these organisers. This pool and another attached children's pool and disability access to this pool and the changing sheds was built for just over $1 million, fundraised by the school. And we know that St Albans, being a public pool, will have different constraints on them in terms of the things that they will have to install that a school pool may not have, but they might like to talk to Dwayne Majors and the school committee about how they did it, because it is substantially less, their budget was substantially less than that budget. The Addington Fair, this year we weren't Tweedledee and Tweedledum. The Malthouse Theatre Company lost a hat and we were Tweedledum and Tweedledum. And we spent our time consulting with the community on various issues about Addington, including the Lincoln Road and infill housing and road speeds and some of the issues that interest the community. As you know, the weather was appalling, but it wasn't that appalling. It was sort of mild weather, but drizzling. So the rock bands weren't as evident as they have been in past years, but nonetheless, this is an occasion that is hugely successful at St Mary's Church.
And the other Tweedledum is Sherilyn Davies from Minoka Cottage.
Yeah, the community cottage that's been built. Age Friendly continues. They have established in our ward the Age Friendly Action Plan. They have 4 starter priorities, and collaborative groups were agreed. The issues that they are looking at are social isolation, participation, connection, transport, inclusiveness and health and wellbeing. And I continue to say to them that we must play to our strengths as older people, not just our perceived weaknesses, because older people are a vibrant, pertinent, active, involved a group of people that are not to be patronised as being frail and unwell and needing support. Crossover Trust.
Yep. So the Crossover Trust is in our ward area, and we've, as a board, supported that for as long as I've been around and beforehand. And they provide liaison workers for various schools like Rowley, West Spreydon and Addington, to strengthen family and children's participation in education in the community and things like that. So we'd then given them some funding to do a evaluation report, and they came back to the board with a copy of that and explained about a lot of the work that they've been doing, and we want to get them back because there's so much information in there to try and take in, basically. And they've also got Origin Sport as well, so there's I can't remember his name, but there's people
Roy.
that are, well, not Roy, the other one, Greg, I think it is, who, yeah, but they do a lot of work with sport as well. And we also had Spreydon Youth Community Trust 24/7 Youth Workers Program come back with an evaluation as well, and they just told us some different snippets of various sort of relatively specific things about different kids that they'd been achieving. So that was really cool to hear about what work they've been doing as well.
Manuka Cottage is starting to become a reality, and we hope will be built by next Christmas. It has been a long wait, 8 years out of their building, and the process has taken a long time, but we look forward to it. Is that? I didn't know this was going to be in there. That cake was made by Faye, who is our board advisor, who is there cutting the cake with me. This was our Christmas party. That photograph makes it look as though it wasn't crowded. It was absolutely crowded and great fun. Lots of really good, interesting people there. Lots of people we all know and love, and it was terrific atmosphere actually this year, wasn't it? Great atmosphere.
Fab photo.
And
And there was a huge amount of food.
huge amount of food prepared by all the staff. They did such a fantastic job with the food, as you can see. They just did a great job, and the decorations and things. And have we got that photograph of Patana? We haven't got that photograph. That's it.
Good. Right, thank you.
What is it?
There's a short video from the Hoonhay Fiesta, if you're happy for that. It's just a quick clip of some kids doing...
The first time you get to the front and you go over time, okay?
I know, sorry.
Just noting. All right. You turn the sound up. Oh.
Thank you, kids.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. All right. Since it's the last community board meeting of the year.
Thank you. I think it's really important to acknowledge the new owners of the Barrington Mall, because this has been going on for like 20 years. And poor Phil, my colleague here, has been involved in it for 20 years. I've only been involved in it for about 12. But the local community have been pushing and pushing. It's been an issue for 20 years. But the present owners of the Barrington Mall are far more open to working with communities, etc., and working with council. So I think it has to be acknowledged, because up till this present ownership model, it has been just a pain. But the new owners have actually really made it happen.
Yes, and you will have an opportunity to say so when we get to the paper. So, but you would like to move, Tim, that the report be received, and seconded by Phil, and I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. Thank you very much.